Tomo News presents Lazy Workers.
Wrong line of work, buddy. The employee who caused an uproar in Hawaii after sending out a bogus missile threat has been fired, while the rest of the agency is under intense scrutiny. On January 13th, Hawaii residents and visitors received an alert on their phones warning of an incoming missile. The alert triggered mass panic in the state before being confirmed as false nearly 40 minutes later. The state government initially said a worker mistakenly clicked on the wrong button, blaming the interface for being confusing. But an investigation by Hawaii state officials and the FCC now reveals it wasn't an accident. The mishap began when a supervisor conducted an unplanned drill. He announced, "Exercise, exercise, exercise," to indicate it was a test, but for some reason also threw him, "This is not a drill." While most employees understood it was a practice, one trigger-happy worker believed it was a real emergency and sent out the alert. When everyone realized what happened, the worker was told to cancel the alert, but he reportedly froze and did nothing. It's not the first time it's happened either. Said worker previously confused separate fire and tsunami drills for the real thing, though thankfully no panic buttons were pressed during those incidents. In the future, maybe find someone who doesn't freak out so easily.
Lately, the police in America have been drawing lots of criticism for having a lack of understanding in the communities and the places they're patrolling. Because of that, many regular citizens have been quick to point the finger, and their smartphones' cameras, at officers when they appear to be doing a terrible job. Julian Collins decided to show people the situation in his neighborhood on Chicago's South Side, near the corner of 63rd and South Campbell Streets, one of that city's most crime-ridden areas. That's when he catches one of Chi-Town's finest catnapping in his patrol vehicle. Now, the Chicago Police Department has opened an investigation into the matter, saying, quote, "The incident is not in keeping with the high expectation placed on officers." Meanwhile, the department wouldn't release the name of the dozing patrolman, but I'm sure he's packing some of that 5-hour energy drink along with his gun and handcuffs these days.
UPS driver tosses package over a fence and then urinates against the side of a home.
Indian guy finally fired after skipping work for 24 years. A.K. Verma is a contract engineer employed by India's government. At least he was until last week. Verma was fired last week from his job, which he hadn't shown up to since 1990. Yep, Verma skipped out on his job for 24 years before finally getting fired. Shocking. Civil servants in India are infamous for taking months of sick leave, endless vacations, long lunch breaks, or for surfing the web at work. But this kind of takes the cake. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says he was shocked when he took power last year and has tried cracking down on the absenteeism. He's known to play office monitor, making unannounced visits to various government offices, and making civil servants sign in with fingerprint scanners. The system is also partially at fault. Verma had an inquiry brought against him as early as 1992, but took 22 years before government authorities finally ruled to fire him. Then again, the decision may have been delayed because those authorities were out playing a round of golf.
U.S. pilot's body remains in plane a year after crashing in Cameroon. Villagers discovered the body of a missing American pilot flying for the nonprofit African Parks a month ago, but Bill Fitzpatrick's body remains sitting in the cockpit of the plane he died in. Why, you ask? Fitzpatrick's family is running into a litany of bureaucratic issues with the Cameroonian government. Fitzpatrick, 59, who took off from Kano, Nigeria en route to Douala, Cameroon, went missing last June after his plane went down in mysterious circumstances without sending any distress signals. Fitzpatrick's family got some closure when his body was found in April when villagers stumbled across the Basuki Mountains crash site. However, since then, Fitzpatrick's body remains in the Cessna 172 he was transporting to a national park in the Republic of Congo, and repatriating his body to the U.S. has remained a logistical nightmare. African Parks, the Johannesburg-based group that employed Fitzpatrick, cannot remove the remains without the help of Cameroonian officials, but getting the dead man's remains back to the U.S. doesn't appear to be a priority for Cameroonian officials. One official in southwest Cameroon told the Associated Press that Bill's remains have been conserved in the pilot's seat and told his family to rest easy after painting that nice little image. Granted, Cameroonian officials have Boko Haram to worry about. The presence of the terrorist organization in the area is also the reason why the U.S. won't allow Fitzpatrick's family to retrieve his body themselves. However, his family continues to desperately seek his body's return. They've created a website called Find Bill Fitzpatrick to increase awareness and raise money for his 3 kids. And Fitzpatrick's brother Ken has pleaded with American officials and diplomats and even tweeted at the Clintons for help, all to no avail.
English paramedics dump body of 32-year-old man by trash can. Paramedics working for the East of England ambulance service were in such a hurry to leave work on time that they reportedly abandoned the body of a 32-year-old man in this ambulance garage for the next shift to deal with. Around 5:30 a.m., paramedics got the call that a local plumber had collapsed outside of a fire station. They arrived to find the man deceased and loaded the body into the ambulance. But the responders were coming to the end of their night shift, and the closest mortuary was at a hospital in Cambridge, about 24 miles away. So they opted instead to return to their ambulance station and dump the body next to the trash. It reportedly took more than an hour for the next crew to arrive and deal with the body. This is the second recent embarrassment for ambulance crew chief Dr. Anthony Marsh, who was ridiculed in August for spending $29,000 in taxpayer money on cab fares. Marsh issued an apology, but refused to confirm any details of the incident.
Patient awake during surgery. Doctor failed to give drug. A 34-year-old man undergoing surgery to have his tonsils removed at a Sydney hospital heard and felt everything that happened to him during the procedure. That was because the anesthesiologist forgot to turn on the machine to administer desflurane, a general anesthesia. The patient was unable to notify the doctors before or during the surgeries because he'd already received a neuromuscular block. He was unable to move or communicate during the procedure because of the drug. It wasn't until staff noticed that the patient was twitching and that his blood pressure had spiked that they realized something was wrong. Dr. Bin Lin Yin admitted he'd been multitasking during the operation, checking the patient's charts, writing notes, and checking his mobile. The Professional Standards Committee found Dr. Yin guilty of unsatisfactory professional conduct and ordered him to undergo mentoring and attend a course on anesthesia safety. The patient is still pursuing a lawsuit against Dr. Yin and the hospital, claiming emotional and psychological trauma.